Ladies and gentlemen, good to see you here tonight. We're going to try to have our microphones where you can hear a little better on the back row back there. But if you have not completed plan to speak and have not completed one of these forms, I think it would be advisable that you do that because you can't speak without it. And I understand that maybe some people might have held on to theirs a little bit, but we want to make sure that we do this in order. And if you decide you have not filled out a form and want to do it, go ahead and fill one out as we go through the process, and make sure that either Maria, I think she disappeared through the door. There she is back at the back. We'll get that form for you because this is a legal hearing, and we need to make sure that we do have these forms to justify having a speaker speak at the time, because we are recording it. This is the certification, and we meet our requirements and yours as well. Let me open this thing first.
Please fill one out so your name goes on record, like he said. Everybody's name is a record. Please fill it out. Please stand up there and go, we do not agree. If you don't feel comfortable speaking, just say you don't agree.
Okay.
These have your name on record, on paperwork.
When you get through speaking, I'd like to open the meeting. Thank you.
I just wanted to validate what you were saying.
Okay, I appreciate you doing that. You've been to several of these before, and thank you. Let me open a regular public hearing, City Council, City of Pearland, for Monday, October the 16th, year 2017. And by law, I am supposed to read into the record the contents of the posting, which is a second hearing, public hearing of the City of Pearland's incorporation of Annexation Areas A, C, I, L, and P into the city limits. Area A being comprised of approximately 885 acres located north of Brazoria County Mud 22, east of County Road 564, and south of County Road 92, and west of County Road 48. Area C being comprised of approximately 18 acres located north of McHard Road, abutting Clear Creek at the northeast corner of nearby Country Place subdivision. Area I being comprised of approximately 344 acres located north of South Belt Industrial Drive, west of Alameda School Road, and south of Beltway 8 and east of Farm to Market 521. I hope you know where that is. Area L being comprised of approximately 1,002 acres located northeast of State Highway 35 between Dixie Farm Road and County Road 129. And Area P being comprised of approximately 260 acres located just south of Magnolia Road, just north of Bailey Road, west of Manville Road, and east of Weber Drive and Deerbrook Court. And at this point, I'll turn this over to our staff and ask him to proceed with the process at this point. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, Mayor and Council, and staff and public residents that have come to the public hearing. This is our second public hearing related to the proposed annexation of areas designated as A, C, I, L, and P. The agenda for tonight's public hearing, I'll present in the form of slides and just want to cover some of the details that we'll be covering. There is some additional information that we'll provide as we did receive public comment and some in writing and some at the meeting that we want to make sure we disclose responses to. So first off, we'll go through the slide presentation, which talks about the annexation phasing involved in this process, the procedures involved in annexation, the actual annexation areas themselves, some information about the service plans, property taxes affecting the annexed residents and property owners, and do a recap of the first public hearings responses. And we've done so by also providing an addendum to our frequently asked questions document, which has been posted on the internet on our annexation web page. We then will proceed to allow the public to make comments by area. So we'll do this exactly the way we did last time with a little bit more proficiency, I think, because we've got a map at the end of the room and staff has assisted the public with their registration for making public comments, so it should go a little bit smoother. And then we will proceed to council staff discussion and adjournment following that. First, I want to talk a little bit about the areas that we're annexing. All of the areas are in our extraterritorial jurisdiction, and I thought it might be a good idea to define what that is. This is the area contiguous to the corporate boundaries of the city and within 5 miles of those boundaries. And they comprise for the City of Pearland approximately 30 square miles, which is 41% of our total service area. We offer these areas fire protection and prevention and some police response. These areas are located in Brazoria and Harris counties, and there are a total of 19 areas which our comprehensive plan identifies by alphabetic letter, and they are alphabetized A through S, and there are a total of 19. These areas are located in direct proximity to the incorporated area. Again, they are in the extraterritorial jurisdiction, and there are multiple land use types involved. This is a map of our city and its extraterritorial jurisdiction. And this is a map of our annexation ordinances, which shows the annexed areas that comprise of the history of growth of the City of Pearland. Annexation phasing is a key component that has allowed us to define these areas in our process for annexing over the course of our comprehensive plan period. It's designed to provide us with an idea of how to balance our current and procured capacity with planned and future needs, particularly where things like wastewater and water are concerned, public safety, traffic management, and mobility. And it allows us to deal with development complexities and the population increases that take place in and around the area. We want to make sure that our phasing addresses the need for financial feasibility when taking on different areas and smart growth, and a lot of this has been done through municipal utility districts. The annexation phasing has been broken up into short, medium, and long-term annexing of areas. Annexation areas A and C were originally identified as short-term annexation areas, I and L as medium-term, and P as a long-term. And this is a correction also from the last set of slides. We did make a mistake and identify P as a medium-term, but it was in the comprehensive plan as a long-term annexation priority. I also want to talk about some of the incorporation procedures. These are the things that give us the legal and statutory parameters for annexation. Our local city charter, Article 1, Section 103, authorizes us to adjust our boundaries, and state law provides the statutory components of how we actually go through the annexation process. We are required per Local Government Code 43.056 to put a service plan into effect, host public hearings so that the public can have an opportunity to view our annexation intentions, and that we have ordinance readings that adopt and effectuate the annexation itself. There's another important code section that we want to make sure we reference, and that is the one that limits our annexation to 10% of our current total incorporated area, and that's in Section 43.005A. These annexations in total do not exceed that percentage at all. We do want to reference the fact that a new annexation law goes into effect December 1st of 2017, signed into law by the governor in August. This is Senate Bill 6, and it does dramatically change the landscape of our boundary expanding procedures in the future, but staff recommends that we incorporate these lands as they provide additional, more diverse tax base, planned utilities, and mobility improvements and future development of the city as far as population growth is concerned. Annexation prior to Senate Bill 6 effective date is the best interest of overall Pearland from staff perspective. Again, just want to touch on the annexations in the comprehensive plan. This slide once again shows the priorities that were identified in that plan. This is a map of the areas that are identified for annexation in 2017. Another point to note is that this annexation falls under Texas law, Local Government Code 43.052H, which allows us to conduct an involuntary annexation, which is involving fewer than 100 separate tracts of land on which one or more residential dwellings are located on each tract. The notices were made to property owners on September the 1st of 2017. The law also requires that we get the information that we use to disseminate this public notice from the appraisal districts. And we've done that and got our information to notify the affected property owners through the Brazoria County Appraisal District and the Harris County Appraisal District's records. There are no public entities' properties affected by this annexation because none of these areas have any schools or facilities like that located in them. We have created an annexation webpage that's maintained and updated on a regular basis to provide the public with the information about the annexation activities. That's at pearlandtx.gov/annexation. And we have maps, copies of council's actions, the service plan drafts, calendars, and other information available. Citizens can also email us at annexations@pearlandtx.gov for additional information. And we've also publicized the notices for these public hearings on the 20th and 27th of September, respectively. And both of those notices appeared in our local paper of record, which is the Reporter News, and our city website as required by law. So I want to talk about the annexation areas themselves. Annexation Area A is a short-term annexation area made up of approximately 885 acres, north of Mud 22, east of County Road 564, south of County Road 92, and west of County Road 48. It has approximately 87 residential homes with an estimated population of 239. And here's a map of Annexation Area A. The current and future land use plan for Annexation Area A is low-density residential. Moving on to Area C, again, a short-term annexation area of approximately 18 acres north of McCard Road, abutting Clear Creek at the northeast corner of nearby Country Place subdivision. There are no residences and no population in this area. This is a map of Area C. The current and future land use plan for Annexation Area C is also low-density residential. Moving on to Annexation Area I, this is one of the medium-term annexation areas made up of approximately 344 acres. This is in the South Belt Industrial Drive area, west of Alameda School Road, south of Beltway 8, and east of FM 521. There are approximately 11 residences with a population of about 30 people. And here's a map of that area. Current and future land use plan for Annexation Area I is light industrial. Moving on to Annexation Area L, this is a medium-term annexation area of approximately 1,002 acres, located northeast of State Highway 35 between Dixie Farm Road and County Road 129. It's the location of our Pearland Regional Airport, has approximately 32 residential homes with an estimated population of 88. This is a map of Annexation Area L. Current and future land use plan for Annexation Area L is comprised of a number of different land uses. There's a section that's medium to low density residential, an area designated as used for airport. There's a recreation and open space land use area, and also an area designated as light industrial land use. And finally, Annexation Area P. We've corrected this from the last slide, last information at the last public hearing. Long-term area, annexation area. It's approximately 260 acres located south of Magnolia Road, just north of Bailey Road, west of Manville, and east of Weber Drive and Deerbrook Court. It's got approximately 57 residential homes with an estimated population of 154. This is a map of Area P. And the current and future land use plan for Annexation Area P is low-density residential. Also want to talk about the service plans. There's a component that is required of the city to provide an early action program. This is the program that ensures that police patrol investigations, animal control services, fire, emergency medical services, code enforcement, health inspections, parks and recreation facilities such as our rec center and natatorium are available for those that have been annexed, access to our libraries, solid waste recycling, our trash pickup services, as well as use of the Stella Roberts Recycle Center in Pearland, and the operation and maintenance of roads and drainage. The other component of the service plan involves the capital and infrastructure elements. The water and wastewater facilities are ones that we want to make sure we're very clear that our system for Pearland, and this would be the same system that those subject to annexation would find their way, is a user-based system. It's not set up, supported with our property tax base. And we do have existing capacity based on the requirements that are necessary. We have planned and contracted sources and existing facilities estimated at 58 million gallons per day capacity, and the current operational uses citywide are about 16 million gallons a day. So we've got ample capacity to serve these areas. The other component that's important to note is our capital improvement program is a 5-year program, and the annex areas would then be subject to project development based on plans and needs that we find in those areas. We've talked about some of the public safety resources that have been provided to these areas. We do provide fire and police services. We've mapped some of these services for your convenience. These are the emergency services that have been provided to Annexation Area A since the adoption of the comprehensive plan in fiscal year 2016. These are the emergency services to Annexation Area I. Here's a map of what we've done in Annexation Area L. And some of the activities that have taken place in Annexation Area P. So when we tally these up, they total about 155 calls for service, mostly emergency medical services. So our fire paramedic trained officers have been out for a number of calls, probably mostly related to vehicle accidents and things like that, but they have responded to structural fires and the like. Another point to note is there will be some agricultural exempt properties when we do this annexation. They are subject to the execution of a development agreement between the city and the property owner. That agreement automatically expires in 5 years, and they would be automatically incorporated at the time of that expiration. But they can also expire if that property owner applies for a permit and does something to improve their property. We've gathered information preliminary that provides us with a number of agricultural land use by area. Area A, we anticipate there being 11 ag exempt properties, 8 in Area L, and 5 in Area P. We've also done some work to provide some information about the property tax base expansion that takes place by annexing these areas, the estimated tax revenue created by area. Area A, 219,436. Area C, 4,172. Area I, 663,992. Area L, $141,649. And Area P, $160,838. The total annual estimated property tax revenue is $1.1 million, close to $1.2 million. Just again to point the fact that we are constantly updating the annexation webpage that we have. That information is located at pearlandtx.gov/annexation. And again, a lot of general information is being provided. The FAQs have been updated on a regular basis, and we do have some GIS maps up there to provide a depiction of what these areas look like in various contexts. One of the other things we wanted to do is make sure we inform council of the responses we provided to those that were at the first public hearing. We did hear residents and property owners stand up before council and express their concerns, and we wanted to make sure that we put some highlight on what we've done to do so, to respond. Some of those concerns were expressed in the area of the annexation phasing and the purpose of the annexation. Why are we doing this? The notification process. There were questions about community development involving land use and zoning, the zoning proceedings themselves. Of course, there were questions also about service plans and the property tax information. We have put together some information in the form of an addendum to the frequently asked questions that we originally published, and that information, again, is at the annexation webpage for your convenience. So these slides basically just talk in detail about some of the information that we provided in those. I won't go through that information, but it's available on the website and for discussion. So I'll just show those slides. There were some questions about water and wastewater and utilities in the FAQs. Just for information purposes, we did provide some maps of local water sources and wastewater facilities just to make sure that those looking at those documents will have an idea of where our facilities are located and where our potential opportunity to serve those areas exists. This is a map of our water distribution system. And as you can see, the lines of service are very, very close to the areas we are annexing. This is a map of our sanitary sewer collection system. And similarly, it shows where we have capacity and lines. There were also citizen comments and concerns about the property tax implications. We did look at the average residential property values for each area and come up with an estimated tax. For Area A, the average residential property value was $218,693, which would result in a pre-homestead tax estimate of $1,498. All these are pre-homestead. Area I, average residential property value $149,944, which results in a $1,027 estimated pre-homestead tax. Area L, $181,664, with an estimated pre-homestead tax at $1,244, and the average value in Area P is $189,323, resulting in a $1,296 pre-homestead tax estimate. That concludes my staff presentation at this time. And Mayor, I'll pass back to council to handle the public comment section of it. Again, we've organized this the same way we did last time, and I think we've got staff support in a place that will make this work the way it's supposed to.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll pick it up. We'll process these in groups of alphabetical grouping. And if you have not filled out one of these forms, please do so, because they will give it to me, and then I will put it in the A stack and the C stack and the I stack, and to call you up in orders. When you get up to the podium, please give me your name and your address, so that we can tie it. It would be a legal tie there for you to be able to be assured that you have been heard and your recording your comments are being recorded. If you get that, I'll have the paper copy, which will have the same thing you just said. Also, we're going to try to restrict it to at least about 3 minutes. Do you have the buzzer?
Yes, sir.
Would you turn the buzzer on when it gets 3 minutes? Can you run that up and put that on the microphone so we can hear what this says? Try to give you an idea of where you are in the process. If it rings, I want to put the mic down pretty close to it. Was that it?
Yeah, that's good.
Can you hear that? I can't hear that. So just keep on talking. But anyway, we'll try to get your attention on that. The city secretary, if you'll stick his hand up in the air, is a timekeeper. We're trying to confine it to about 3 minutes, but when you hear the buzzer goes off and stick his hand up, you at the podium up there, you will be able to see his hand. And I'll try to, if you're not finished, approach the conclusion as soon as possible, and we'll try to process this as we can. And we want to make certain that each of you that would like to speak get the comments recorded on our recording process and also with a paper copy. So with that information on the record, let's start out with Veronica Cardell.
Yes,
Veronica Cardell.
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Go up there. Yeah, you'll come up.
Is she here?
She's coming up there.
Okay. Oh, there she is, yeah. Very good. What are those on your shirt? Are those?
Hello, everybody.
Oh, that's
I'm Veronica
good.
Cardell.
Good. Thank you. Thank you.
Hello. It's my first time here today, and I have been living in.
Would you give us your name and address?
I'm sorry?
Name and address.
Okay, my name is Veronica Cardell, and my address is 2905, and that's in Honeysickle Street, Rocheron, Texas, 77584.
Okay, fine.
That's also County Road 967.
Good. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, so I believe from my understanding, we are Area A. Is that correct? Please correct me if I'm wrong. Is that right? Okay, so I don't want our annexation in our area, so I totally disagree with all that. We have been residents in that area for a long time now, and I actually know, and we have other people here in the same street that will, support me and our community here for Area A. And the street has been, we've been there for several years. We have residents that live there longer than actually I have. And my husband, my kids grew up there, and we like the community. We plan to stay there, and we don't want our area to be annexed. So I totally disagree with that.
Good.
So,
Great. I appreciate those comments. Thank you.
so yes.
Yeah, very good. Very good. Kate Hauser. There she is. Yeah.
Okay.
On the move. There you go. Thank you for being here tonight, hon.
Thank you. I'm Kay Hauser, live at 2807 Honeysickle, Rocheron, Texas. It's also known as County Road 967. It's in Section A. I was here last week when we had the meeting, so there again, I'm going to plead my case. I plead with all of you that, with all my heart, to reconsider annexing our area in this fashion that you're doing it in. If there's nothing to hide, then why do we rush this annexation proposal before the House and Senate Bill 6 deadline? Why not wait until you have the services available to offer us the annexation then, instead of us having to pay for it for 5+ years before the services would even be available to us? Per your September meeting, when I came to your September meeting, I was told that water for sure would be 5 years off, if not longer. It just, we moved out there back in 1978. I searched all the areas around here to find us a home and some land for my husband and I to bring our kids out to. We lived in a 1-bedroom apartment with a 1.5-year-old and a baby on the way. And I chose this land between Fresno and Pearland, and I chose it on purpose because it was the country, and I couldn't afford a house in the city of Pearland. We were a young couple. So, long story short, we moved out here, and I know last week somebody said that wasn't the country. Well, I took pictures today. If you need to see them on my phone, that's still the country out there on that side of 48. and 59. And I know it's in the eyes of the beholder, but most of Pearland homes aren't on 2.5 to 5 acres. They are not. And I have homes in South Lake and behind us over there in Shadow Creek that they're so close next door that they can't even paint their house or do anything because they're in their next door neighbor's yard doing it. So we don't have that out there. We've also had Sheriff Wagner from Brazoria County come out and help us get our street cleaned up. I don't need Pearland to annex us to get my street cleaned up. That's what somebody told me in my September meeting. I don't need that. Sheriff Wagner has helped us. We are on a first-name basis with him. Please feel free to call him. He is taking care of our street. And the fire department, I don't know where you got your information from. I live on that street, and you may call me a nosy body on that street, but there's a couple of us that stay in touch. We watch out. We cover each other's backs. The fire department hasn't been out there for one fire, except they've only come out because the neighbors have complained about fireworks after we got inducted into the ETJ, after y'all got us into that. Then that they came out for the fireworks, they've come out because somebody has set a brush pile on fire. We have 2.5 acres. We all have trees out there. We don't have a trash service, and it doesn't look like we'll get a heavy trash service from you guys because I'm not going to bundle up those trees and put them there. I'll get a backhoe and dig a big ditch in the back and burn it in there. According to the fire department, they told me I could do that. I also call them when we're ready to burn. They know when I'm going to do that. So I hear it. I just plead with you to please reconsider. If this is a fair game, do it fairly. Let us vote on it. Wait till you have the services available for us. And then I don't have a problem with it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That was kind of a family affair. That was we had Ardell, Francisco, and Veronica, and now we have Mary Sue. Was that Mary Sue there then? Yes. Yeah. Okay. Here we go now.
Hi, I'm Mary Sue Cardell. I live
They
at
were
20.
stacked.
What? Okay, I'm Mary Sue Cardell. I live at 2904 Honeysickle, and we also have 2902, and we also have 2907. I have been living there for more than 30 years. I mean, we're fine with our septic tanks. We are definitely fine with our water wells. We do not need any assistance from y'all, and everything ditto what Kay just said for us. I agree with her. Thank you.
We're going to switch down the alphabet to I. Ed Lang. Ed, thank you. I saw him move. Well, there he is. Thank you for being here tonight, Ed.
Thank you. Gentlemen, I'm here representing Biggie Crane and Rigging, and just a couple points to touch on. We're vehemently against this annexation. What seems to be missed in your slides.
Sir, can you say your address?
Oh, sorry. 14800 Jersey Shore Drive, South Bell Industrial Park. But in your slides, 14% of this mass is the industrial park area, generating 56% of the revenue, and there's no services long-range forecast coming in there anytime soon. I'm sure most of the business owners, in 20-plus years most likely, most of the business owners would love to see those services. It's a great self-sustaining entity right now, great roads. There's no reason for this in the least, and you should definitely reconsider annexing this self-supporting, fully self-supporting organization. Anytime that I have remaining, if Michelle Falzone needs, please allow her to keep going. That's all I have, gentlemen.
Thank you for that. Appreciate your comment. We have one from Michelle Falzone. There she is, coming around. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you.
Let me see if I can adjust this. Sorry. My name is Michelle Falzon.
Let me, before you start, you have requested to speak in L and I. Why
Yes,
don't you speak at L, I right now, and then go ahead and do the L separately.
Okay, I
So
believe,
we have two separate meetings for you. You should have filled out two separate forms, but that's okay. We'll do it this way.
yes, sir, I was just trying to do it for the time restraints, and I
Okay.
am affected in both areas, sir.
Okay.
Michelle
We're speaking for what
Falzon.
now first?
Okay.
I first, okay.
I have a couple of comments for L that is included, but I think you'll get my overall message, sir.
Okay.
Michelle Falzon, 707 Westfield, Friendswood, Texas, 77546.
Okay.
I am sure you remember me from last week, and just to remind you, I am a resident of the City of Pearland, own business property in the city, and you are now attempting to annex 2 additional pieces of commercial real estate I own in areas I and L. After asking several questions last week, I did not get answers to a few of the questions. Why is Pearland annexing Area I now, when on your 2015 annexation plan it states 2025? Nor did you answer what additional services you would be providing to Area I or L if annexed. I also asked for further information regarding the comment made in September 27th Pearland Reporter News, and it states, "The annexation will help the city improve its ability to manage growth and public service levels." What does this mean? The city claims that the annexation letters were sent out in a timely manner. I believe you're doing this only due to the time restraints for SB 6. I cannot imagine that the city was thinking after Harvey's disaster that this would be the right thing to do to rush this decision. As mentioned last week, many did not receive the notices, and those that did were not aware of the time of the meeting. The August 29th letter and newspaper states that the reading of the annexation will be held on November 13th and November 20th. However, on your PowerPoint of October 9th, hearing and council itself stated that the reading was going to be November 6th and November the 13th. Which one is it? Why do we have conflicting dates? The city addendum states the provision of water and sewer services are not tax-supported services. They only have to ensure that it has the capacity for serving the area. The state law under the Local Government Code 43056 states the municipality will provide full municipal services in an annexed area no later than 2.5 years, and under special circumstances, 4.5 years. Full municipal services include water and sewer. Nowhere do we find that the City of Pearland has the means or intentions of providing these services. What is our value? What is the city giving us in return? A tax bill? According to, I have just a little bit left. I apologize, and I believe I have the leftover time. According to your agenda reports, Area I is 14% of the annexed acreage, would pay 56% of the total revenue, $664,000 per year. What is the city giving us in return? Based on your distribution map and the comprehensive plan, there are no water mains near Area I or L. How will you provide these lines in a 2.5-year time frame as the law requires? And since you claim that property taxes don't pay for this, is Pearland ready to go into more debt to comply with the law? At last week's hearing, Councilman Perez said, "I assure you that we will not do anything that is not allowed by state law. And if there is anything that we are doing, which has happened in the past, we let it go." I believe this annexation is one to let it go. Pearland did not do what it was supposed to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Jack Calloway. Jack, there you are. Thank you. Thank you for being here tonight, sir.
My name is Jack Calloway. My family and I live at County Road 17004, County Road 127. We live in the northern section of Area L. I'm against being annexed, and I understand that the state's Senate Bill 6 is forcing the city's hand in annexing these areas. But it's my opinion that the main goal of annexing Area L is to annex the airport that's in the area. With private homes along County Road 127 in the northern section of Area L being the collateral damage to that goal. With that being said, I would like to request that these private homes be excluded from Area L annexation. Thank you for allowing me to speak on this matter. Thank you.
Good. I appreciate those comments. Thank you. Then I have Gary Strohaber.
Yes,
I got it pretty close, didn't I? Thank you
Yes.
for being here.
thank you. Gary Stahlhaber, 16730 County Road 127. I have the mobile home park down there at the on 127, and I'm really against the annexation. I'm a reasonable man, and I have I'm at times been for annexation. However, I just don't see the advantage of the annexation on our side over here. Now, can you guys provide some reason of some type why we're doing this? As far as services, what can you provide for us in a timely manner? You know, short of 5 or 6 years that we're fighting, can you give us some kind of an idea of what we're looking at? Maybe, maybe not.
We're not dialoguing with you.
Okay.
We're receiving your testimony.
At any rate, we just don't see the advantage to it, and I just want to go on record as being against it.
Thank you, sir. And then George Howland. There's George. Thank you for being here tonight, sir.
Yeah, my name is George Hall. I live at 16907 County Road, or 904 County Road 127. I'm kind of going to put this on a personal basis. We bought 15 years ago. I bought 2 acres of land with the idea that I had built several homes with my family coming up in Pearland and Friendswood, and this was to be our retirement place. This is where I was going to build small. I scaled down houses. This was going to be for my children. The day after we closed the land, I received notice that they were going to have a meeting at the airport. Pearland was going to annex the airport, and that the FAA had all these plans. Well, it was a Donnybrook for 3 years for me personally. I spent a lot of money not fighting the airport, fighting with them, trying to get some agreement. I now secured the land. Supposedly, the agreements I've got will allow my children to build on the property. There's an old famous philosopher that said, it's kind of like deja vu all over again. This is not I think the biggest objection I have is, one, quality of life is going to go down. These homes there are very special. They're not the sprawl that you see across at Silver Lake, and we moved there specifically to get away from that, and I don't want it taken away from us. I just hope that you'll consider eliminating these homes. We don't need your water. I got better water than you'll ever have in Pearland. And, this, like I said, the well systems, the road, County Road 127, I don't have any idea what you guys are thinking about trying to either annex that airport, getting into an airport situation, the fire, the fire requirements you're going to have in the hangars, the water systems going down that road. If you put a light commercial system in down there, it's going to do our home values no good at all. I can't see any value for us personally, and a whole lot of disadvantages in doing this. One thing that I kind of clarified, I kept saying, what in the world would Pearland want to do? And I happened to be reading the bill that came out of the Senate, and I saw something about San Antonio. I thought, what the heck's San Antonio? They're doing it too. Well, they're annexing, from what I understand, this is rough, but the I-10 corridor all the way, it looked like all the way to Kerrville. And I thought, my God, how in the hell can they do that with that little notice and no taxpayer input and no voting? The problem I've got with it is, it's kind of like taxation without representation. We threw tea off a ship one time and fought a war over stuff like this. And I think I pray that you do something different than what you're doing now. This is not right. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate this. It's Mike Raji. Did I get it pretty close?
Close enough.
Wasn't close enough. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Tell me how to pronounce it now.
It's Rachi.
Raji. Okay.
Most of us are old enough to know Liberace. It's not spelt that way, related, or anything like that, but Rachi.
Okay.
Mike Rachi, County Road 127, 16732. You've heard a couple of my neighbors. I spoke last time. Speaking to you gentlemen, asking you to seriously consider this vote as it comes up these next times. Several of us are not unlike you. We are people of responsibility, and there are processes set in place, which I appreciate you're going through. I believe Governor Abbott, he had great intentions, and I think it's a good thing that votes are going to have to be done. But I think you're forcing this through because of that bill. I don't think that was his intention. Okay? I don't. That being said, I do live there on County Road 127, part of that airport. I don't know, guys. You annex that airport, there's a lot, I don't know. To me, it's a sticky web. It's your homework to do. You guys are the ones that have addressed it before, or your council before, and you're going to make the vote. I would encourage you to seriously, seriously consider that because it's, I think you're getting into something that you don't want to pass on to the next council or even have to deal with as yourselves. So that being said, I am vehemently opposed to the annexation of Section L, and for the reasons I stated.
Thank you. Scott Arnott. There he is. Thank you for being here tonight, sir.
Thank you. My name is Scott Arndt. My wife and I live in Area L at 17800 Airfield Lane, and have owned property there for 22 years. We are opposed to annexation by the City of Pearland. There are several reasons for this opposition. The first is financial. We are very satisfied with the services we receive from the county, ranging from sheriff's office protection to road maintenance. Under annexation, we will pay an additional $4,700 a year in taxes without a compensating increase in provided services for the foreseeable future. For my interpretation of the service plan, there are no plans to bring sewer and water to our area in any foreseeable time in the future. The center of mass of the city is moving westwards towards 288. Capital improvements in that area have the largest per capita effect, so that is the logical area for improvement expenditures. However, if we are annexed, we should have every expectation of receiving the same services as every other Pearland taxpayer. Until Pearland intends to provide this level of service, there should be no consideration of annexation. And when you stop and think about it, over the next 10 years, we'll pay almost $50,000 for services that the City of Pearland won't provide, that we have already procured ourselves through the free market system. So basically, we're paying $4,700 a year for nothing. And I would venture to guess that every one of you sitting at the table right there would find that to be a bad deal as much as we do. My second issue is with zoning. The zoning restrictions in this area are tantamount to fitting a square peg in a round hole. The diverse range of property use and the applied zoning designations do not mesh. If enacted, the marketability of some of these products will drop overnight. In our case, we purchased our property under the expectation we could develop the acreage as we saw fit. For the city to now declare that they control what, where, and how we build is unacceptable to us. I feel we have the right to develop in a manner consistent with historical land use in the area regardless of the city's zoning interpretation. I know this rigid application of zoning is likely not to be your intent, but in years to come, your personal intent is lost and we are left with the rules as written. Zoning variances can be granted, but what's the point of creating conflict in an area that's been functioning well without interference from the city? It is clear that this land grab is an attempt to thwart the intent of the Texas legislature and beat the soon-to-be enacted annexation rule revisions. This action by the city is against the will of the voters and certainly against the will of the vast majority of the property owners in these areas. We currently face enough taxation and governmental interference in our lives, and I am certainly opposed to more. Thank you.
Jeff Brennan. Thank you for being here tonight, sir.
Thank you again, Mayor. Thank you, Council, for allowing me this opportunity. My name is Jeff Brennan. I live at 16930 County Road 127. I'm also against this annexation proposal that you have before you. I'm appreciative of Joel Hardy in answering the questions that I submitted to the Council. A couple of questions. Again, y'all are not annexing County Road 127. This is going to be a big problem for y'all in the future because we will not have any say except to the county in regards to road infrastructure, and y'all are going to be planning on something at the airport to be done, and we're not going to have any access or availability to voice our opinion on this. In Joel's response in regards to the water and sewer, you said that it's based on what the water and wastewater payments are being made by the citizens of Pearland, not to the tax dollars. So I'm going to ask a question of you. Is this in your budget to expand water and wastewater utilities in the future to Area L that you're annexing? And if so, do you have the money set aside for this to be done for this area or any of the areas being annexed? You show on your website, and what Joel just showed to us, you keep on using the word planned. I don't see any planned areas in our area for utilities and or mobilities in the area. I'm concerned about the zoning that's going to be affected in our area because the way you have it set aside, we're large lot, low density subdivision, and you can change the zoning to whatever you want it to be on the airport property, and we're not going to have, you're going to base your opinion on what's on that airport, what's going to bring in more tax value to you than what 9 homeowners along that road are going to have to say. It was brought up in the last meeting, excuse me if I didn't get the numbers right, but you said in all the annex areas there was 894 residents. You had 121 calls. That's 13% of the calls that were made. You're losing $1 million a year in those numbers. Where is the 87% of the other people? Why are they not being annexed in this annexation process? I want to ask you this question. You have the citizens here that are being annexed by you, but no citizens are here that are citizens of Pearland. Have they been asked this question? Is this in the best interest of all the citizens of Pearland? Thank
you. Lance Pledger. There he is. Thank you for being here tonight.
Hello, my name is Lance Pledger. I live at 16803 County Road 127. I'm a 40-year plus resident of the Pearland area. My concerns are twofold. Well, I don't want to repeat what everybody else has said, but people made large investments in the property, put in substantial infrastructure, the tens of thousands of dollars, and you're going to be taxing them for duplicated tax of what the infrastructure they've already paid for, so it's really not fair. So they made an investment in Pearland, making the city that it is today, and now we're going to come back and penalize them with this annexation. It's just not fair. The second point I want to make is it has to do with this comment about diverse. L. Yes, it is very diverse. Let me just tell you how diverse it is. When you look at when you get away from just a few homeowners that live in Area L, you have a trailer park, back end of a landfill, a sand pit, an oil field, a low-lying area from a creek, an airport. So, and then you look at the amount of acreage that's involved in this annexation, and you got 1,000 acres. And you look at the tax base for that 1,000 acres, its proposed tax base on L is $141,000. So you're going to be getting $141 an acre for taxes to support that area. I think from an economic standpoint, I don't think it's a wise business decision to do this for Pearland. The second point I want to make is about this airport. And I live close to the airport, and right now it's reasonable. But as you want to expand the growth of this airport, right now you have children playing 100 yards, a couple hundred yards off this airfield, out there, the runway. And what I envision happening is when you increase the capacity of the airport, you're going to start damaging people's hearing, and then you're going to end up with a class action lawsuit like the city of Houston did with they put in Intercontinental Airport, because you don't have the buffer zone as you have in Sugar Land and other places.
Good. I appreciate those comments. Thank you. Bob Allen. Bob Allen, there he is. Thank you for being here tonight, Bob.
I was just recently notified of this. Represent my mom who lives at 1635 County Road 130. Biggest concern we would have would be, what are you going to get for your buck? If we're paying taxes, what services do we get? Or we just mail in the check and everything stays the same? Also, I'm a firm believer in doing things above board. Truth be known, I don't believe this is what's happening. I think because of the Senate bill, this has been sped up. It's not right. It's what we've been dealing with Washington for all these years. Please don't let it come down to Pearland, Texas. Thank you.
Good. I appreciate those comments. Bill Trahan. There he is. Thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you for having us. Bill Trahan, 4907 Silsby, 20-year resident, plus 20-year resident of Pearland and a property owner in Area L. Am against the annexation for many reasons. One, I don't like the taste it's leaving in my mouth in the way that this is being handled. I see the numbers for your tax revenue that you're going to generate, but I don't see any numbers for what it's going to cost you to provide the services that you should provide if you're going to take somebody into the city. And also I see this as that y'all have apparently changed your original annexation plans to shoehorn this in and get it done before SB 6 takes effect. What SB 6 does, it gives this decision to the will of the people. Why won't y'all let the will of the people of Pearland decide this issue? That's how you guys got elected. Y'all are here to serve us, and that's what I would like to see happen. I just don't see this as a good deal. Thank you.
Thank you. Jane Beeson. Thank you for being here tonight, Jane.
Okay. I'm Jane Beeson. I live at 17018 County Road 127. We've heard Senate Bill 6 mentioned a lot here. I thought it would be interesting to note that Senate Bill 6 has also been referred to as the Texas Annexation Right to Vote Act. A quote from Governor Greg Abbott about it is that in Texas, of all places, property rights matter. Residents from across the state that have expressed their concerns about feeling abused by the annexation process have had their voices heard. I'm proud to sign legislation ending forced annexation practices, which is nothing more than a form of taxation without representation. And I thank the legislature for their attention to this important issue during this special session. And that's the end of quote. It's just a view from the other side. And I hope when y'all consider this that you'll be open-minded and listen to everything that's been said here. So also, at the end of the last public hearing, Trent Perez made a motion to not include the residences on the north side of the airport in the annexation. I'm one of those residences, and I am in favor of that motion. And one more thing, at the last hearing, I raised a concern about the keeping of horses and chickens and how it would be impacted by this. I know that when the Bailey Road area was annexed back in 2015, there were particular things in the facts that addressed that, especially, the ability to keep the livestock that you had already or pets that you had already if they were not within those limits. And I would ask that y'all address it in the facts that you're doing now. I'm not the only one with chickens, but I am the only one with horses in Area L. If these 9 residences, that are north of the airport have been grouped with Area S originally, which is where I think they belong, then there are other people with horses in that area. But anyway, thank you for listening to me. And
I appreciate those comments. Harley Beeson. Harley? Oh, on the way. Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Hi, my name's Haley Beeson. I live
Haley,
at
it's
yes, Haley. I live at 17018 County Road 127. An issue that has gained increased recent attention in Pearland, especially with tightening budgets and an unbalanced debt-to-revenue ratio, is the sustainability of residential development to support new infrastructure and services. According to some estimates, Pearland is essentially losing thousands of dollars on each new home constructed at a medium price point because the cost of supplying services to the house is greater than the revenue from its accrued property taxes. A number of city officials feel the time has come to address this dynamic, some even calling it the biggest single issue Pearland will face over the coming years. This is from your 2020 plan, page 32. Our homes are not going to be profitable to the city. The airport is not going to be profitable to the city. It's been investigated in the 70s, in the 90s, in the 2000s, and then again just a few years ago. So what I want to know is what has changed. And I also want to know how much running the services is going to cost. The number of tax revenue is kind of useless without knowing what you're spending. Spending $1,000 to get 100 isn't going to get you anywhere. I also want to know the cost and a drainage plan. When is the city going to send out the backhoes to clean out the ditch? The county currently does a great job of that. When we met with the city manager and Joel and a planner, I was told that there was no plan that had been turned in just after Harvey. That's scary. So I again ask, who does this benefit? If our annexation loses money, it does not benefit the taxpayers of the city. So somebody had said last time that we drive on the roads and everything. Spending more money on us is not going to help us contributing to the roads. It's not going to benefit us for sure, and I don't think it's going to benefit anyone on this council. Having the stigma of pushing this through, it doesn't look good, and it doesn't benefit the city. Thank you so much.
I appreciate the comment. Gary Wilson. Gary? Huh? Oh, he left? Okay. Let the record reflect that he was here but left, had to leave. Michelle and Susan Garkett? It looks like a GR something GIT. Are you speaking for both of them?
No, he's Michael. Yes.
You're Michael. You're the Michael, okay.
I'm the Michael, yes.
Okay, you're the Michael. Thank you for being here, Mike.
Thank you. Michael Greiger. I live on 16731 County Road 127. My wife and I, Susan, have been Pearland residents more than 25 years. We've lived at this property about 15 years. And we are against the annexation proposal for all the reasons you've heard. And I would just recommend the council do the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you. Susan, was he speaking for you?
Yes, sir, he is.
Okay. Want to make sure. Thank you. Marty Ratche, R-A-T-H-J-E. Thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Council. I'm Marty Rachi. My address is 16732 County Road 127, Pearland 77581. I am opposed to the annexation of Area L. Annexation L includes Cloverfield Airport, and our property sits at the north end of the airport, and you're probably aware that the County Road 127 is not in the annexation. And when you talk about traffic management, I'm wondering how you are going to manage the traffic that's going to be generated in that area if you don't own it. Annexing any road obviously does not generate income and only costs the city, but when looking at the big picture, was this even considered? The concern of additional traffic flow on County Road 127 if the area is annexed and can further be developed, whether it's for industrial or additional subdivisions, is frightening. The traffic flow on this road is a huge concern that I have when viewing the safety of residents in the area, especially since the city will not be maintaining it, and yet they want to own the property bordering it. How can we as Pearland citizens be assured of maintenance and safety for those who walk, bike, and jog this street as traffic increases? If you have never, council members, traveled down County Road 127, I would encourage you to do that. This road has 2 lanes with no divided lane markings, no shoulders on either side. It is open ditch. I'm not sure that the road can even be widened. If no consideration or concern has gone into traffic flow to Area L, it should be considered. The traffic has increased considerably on this road since the completion of Pearland Parkway to Dixie Farm Road. It has given easy access from Friendswood 2351 to Beltway 8 via County Road 127 and Pearland Parkway. Pearland ISD school buses pick up and drop off children within and outside of city limits on County Road 127 daily. I'm talking multiple buses, multiple runs, morning and afternoon. School buses travel this road, passing semis, industrial equipment, waste trucks, concrete trucks, dump trucks, not to mention other family vehicles. You know, the property taxes and possible depreciation of my value of my property, it wouldn't be welcome, but they're not really my foremost concern because the good Lord will take care of that if it happens. My concern is the approach to this annexation and the curiosity of timing with Governor Abbott signing the Senate Bill 6 mid-August, and then we get notification 2 weeks later. So that's a huge concern about the timing, and it concerns me that it's going about in the right way. And one more thought. At the conclusion of the council meeting held Monday, October 9th, when council members took their turn responding to the thoughts shared by residents in the annexed areas, a long monologue was shared defining what country living is. These rambling comments did nothing to address the annexation or to reassure me this annexation is a positive move benefiting the city of Pearland or its citizens. Thank you for your time.
I appreciate it. Charles Williams. Shut it with, there he is.
I'm a pink clothes on this thing.
All you gotta do is figure out how to get there, huh? Thank you for being here.
Yes, sir. Last time, I guess you guys remember, I had paint clothes on. I came directly here from painting my hangar. I actually live on the airport at Cloverfield. I still call it Cloverfield. That's what I grew up. Moved there in '97. Really moved away from city airports to start a business called Nighthawk, which is pulling all the airplane banners that you see, Geico and everything else around the city. I personally picked a country living, like everyone in this room has said, in order to allow me to have open access and no towers and people constantly managing what we do. And that airport functions very well that way. And what I really did was spend the last week reading you guys' bios, especially you, Mayor Reed, because, better word, I'm a hybrid. I just bought a house 2 years ago in Green Tea, so I had my first opportunity to vote. And I voted for you. And when I voted for you, I went around and asked all my neighbors, I said, why do I vote for Mayor Reed? And probably the biggest conclusion was, he's fair. He comes from a farming and ranching background, conservative philosophy, and he's fair. This is not fair. There's not a fair thing about it. I'm in my hangar painting from flooding and everything else. You guys are trying to shove this down our throats? The benefit of this is I do own an aerial advertising company, and I promise every one of you can look me in the eye. I will spend every dollar I have and every dollar they'll bring to vote against you guys and you vote this in.
Let's move down to P, alphabetically. Getan, G-E-T-H-A-N, Getan, looks like an E-I-N-K-A-U-F. Yeah, there you are. I can read writing, but I can't read printing.
Name's G. Ethan Einkoff. I'm at 4510 Daniel Lynn Lane. I know all about Pearland. Margie Wilcoxon, y'all know her, everybody. I'm her grandson. I know all about Pearland. I know what y'all do, spending money on flowers, just to plant flowers in Pearland. You look into it, dude. They spend stupid money on just to plant flowers in ponds that nobody goes around. I'm calling out Center Stage Blue. Keith, calling you out. Last week you said that if y'all got to vote and we got to vote, you'd be 100% for it. Well, in reality, y'all get a vote. Y'all are voting. Give us our vote. Stand behind what you say. No, don't. You said you shrugged your shoulder, and I hope you address me first thing like you did last week when you were so brave to address everybody first off. You were first one to speak. I hope you are this week to address what I have to say about standing behind letting us vote when y'all get a vote. Now let's get generical, like y'all's. Some streets in Area P are paved roads. We pay for them. We have dump trucks come in, drop gravel. We use our equipment, tractors, to level it out. Take care of our roads, take care of everybody's ditches. What are y'all's plans? Y'all don't have any. I guarantee y'all aren't going to... I've put speed bumps on my road, personal speed bumps. Y'all aren't going to come in and put the speed bumps that I have to protect my kids and my neighbor's kids from people going up and down our road. Service plan for no, that was the first one. Like I said, I got to get generical here. About like y'all's, actually, and I'll start with my proof that y'all's map here. This is y'all's. Is this y'all's? Yes, sir. Okay, I do have clarification. So this is y'all's, and he can't. Exhibit A, materials and bonds, blank. Well, it did chuck y'all 6 days to come up with all this, so I could understand why there's a blank page. And Exhibit A-2, well, you know, day 5 got a little rough, so day 6 y'all had to take off. Well, there's those. Generical. Y'all want to beat a dead horse. We can sit here and beat this dead horse also. You know how many miles of ditches y'all are going to have to start mowing? Roughly, 2.2. Guarantee y'all can't keep up with the mowing. That's just the mowing. That's not bringing water. Y'all are going to send a dump truck down our road with people in it. Cool. Y'all can give us trash. We've already got our trash. We don't care about trash. Water, roads, the real stuff. Any fool can send a truck down the road with people in the back picking up trash. Service plans. I already picked that one up. Oh, here, let's get to this one. Are these public hearings of any value to y'all? Is this just to satisfy the law? Because y'all know y'all are passing this just because of Garrett Abbott's law. This guy right here, every time somebody speaks, has a smart face and sits there and goes, disagrees. Are y'all going to be enough to... I'm done. Y'all know y'all need to send it to a vote. Bottom line, y'all get y'all's vote, give us ours.
Good.
He said, that's it. Yes, you did.
Cynthia Alanez. Cynthia, thank you for being here.
Good evening. My name is Cynthia Alanese, 5009 McKnight Road. I'm one of 9 residents on McKnight Road, and I'm upset that no one took the time nor made an effort to inform us that the City of Pearland wanted to annex our neighborhood. Thanks to my neighbor who informed us of this, or we would not have known. Apparently, this is a rush deal that was created to beat the December 1st deadline. Now, you want to blindside all of us by rushing to annex our neighborhood. The City of Pearland had plenty of opportunity to annex thousands of acres over on the other side of 288, which they passed on, and now y'all want to annex our sections A, C, I, L, and P. My family and I have lived here for over 25 years, and I refuse to accept being annexed. I don't need nor want city amenities. Many of our neighbors are older and on fixed incomes, and we are also getting there. All we get out of this is higher taxes and nothing to show for. When there's, y'all stated 889,323 in property values and so forth. Unfortunately, I didn't have the time to do research because I just found out about it an hour before we came here. And there's $300,000 homes being built right behind my home. How am I going to pay these taxes and have nothing to show for? Thank you. I really do oppose this, and I hope and pray that y'all do reconsider annexing our area. Thank you.
Good. I appreciate that. Jason Smith. I saw Jason. There he is. Thank you for being here tonight, sir.
Thank you. Well, this is my second time. I was here the first time. My name is Jason Smith. I live at 5007 McKnight Road, also known as County Road 880. So, you know, I'm vehemently opposed to this. There's roughly 60 residents in Area P. So if you look and by your own figures, there's $160,000 of revenue coming to the city per year. So if you look at the cost, and as I stated earlier, I've been in engineering almost 40 years, and I know, you know, it will be millions and millions of dollars to bring infrastructure to the 60 homes in Area P. And so you figure, you guys are smart guys, figure up how many years it's going to take to pay for that infrastructure. So the only way you can pay for it is either raise taxes or go into debt more. And I understand, you know, the City of Pearland is in debt, you know, quite a bit. So I'm not sure that's an option. So to me, it's very unfair, and to me, it's immoral to make, you know, me, the residents of Area P, to pay for something that we probably will never see in our lifetime. So my only option that I have, as the gentleman said, is the ballot box. So where you have roughly 20% of the electoral that vote, you know, you can count on my vote. I promise you, I will work tirelessly to make sure that I will be at every election. I will work hard to make sure that you gentlemen don't get reelected if this goes through. Please, there is no benefit to Pearland that I can see to annex Area P.
I've got one that's a little different. I think we have William Wayne Bennett.
Brummett, yes, sir.
And
I noticed you're looking at the back of it. It's Bill Brummett.
If you wait just a second until I finish talking, then I'll listen to you.
Yes, sir. Go
Thank
ahead.
you, sir. Apparently, you are representing some other people. You're not a resident of Pearland.
I am a resident of Pearland.
You are a resident. Okay. You live at County Road 9089?
Yes, sir. Mile
Okay.
lane.
I just want to make sure that it says here that attorney representing citizens on the back of the page. I was looking at that.
Does it say attorney on there?
That's what it says. So I just want to double check.
I didn't think it said attorney.
Okay.
God
Take it
forbid,
from
right,
there.
attorney.
Okay. Thank you for being here tonight.
So since you're looking at the back of the page, and somebody mentioned that there's citizens of Pearland that aren't being heard here, on the back of that page, there are citizens who look at it and say, we're in enough debt already. We've got enough troubles. Excuse me, Bill Brummett, 3441 County Road 89, Pearland.
Okay.
There's people on the back of that page that if they had a vote, they would vote against annexing more. Well, you know we would vote against it, and there's citizens that think you've got all the debt you can stand. You got problems that you haven't fixed yet. Fix what you got, then come annex some more people. Okay, that was just from the back of the
We
page.
got that straight. Good.
You're welcome.
Far away.
I can't not get this in, so I want to start with it in case I get beeped later on. There's one thing I cannot forget tonight, so let's address this first. Tony, where'd Tony go? When he gets back. Tony does not have to vote for this annexation. Doesn't have to. Derek, you don't have to vote for this either. You can vote against it. You don't have to vote yes. Mr. Moore, Mr. Owens, I hope that you will vote against this. You've got the option. You do not have to vote for this on November 13th or the next one. Keith, your term limiting out May of next year. This might not be the good legacy item that you'd want to have on your resume going up. It might not. I hope that you'll reconsider. Mr. Little, you do not have to vote for this. You can vote against it. Everybody doesn't have to vote for it. Trent, your statement last week saying it'll be 15 or 20 years before we get service just shows how wrong this is. And I hope that you would change your mind on it. Mr. Mayor, I love you. I love seeing you at your events. I like you're a good guy. I hope that if you end up having a casting a tie-breaking vote, that you'd look at this and you'd think, no, I'm not going to do it. You don't have to do it. I want you to remember, Mr. Mayor, some of the elderly in Area P. The lady said it a minute ago, there's some elderly folks back there. They don't have $100, $150 a month for taxes. And some of them are going to be dead before the service ever gets there. Okay, I've spent hours and hours looking at Pearland politics this week. Do you realize our budget is 240 pages long? I've spent hours looking at Government Code, Chapter 43, and it's like it's written by lawyers and for lawyers. You have publicly admitted that this annexation has been expedited to beat the clock on SB 6. You may be within your legal rights. Joel Hardy has sent out another report detailing, and he did it up here as well, how you've met all the criteria that you have to, but just because something is legal doesn't make it morally or ethically right. Don't forget, SB 6 passed by an overwhelming majority in the special session. Here's a couple of quotes for you. One lady stole my Greg Abbott quote. There's another one. When this bill was filibustered on the last day of the regular session, I said it wasn't over yet, and I got 5 minutes, please. The will of the people will ultimately be victorious. That's Senator Campbell. Today is that day, she said. Paul Betancourt, he knows about this, as does Ed Thompson, the governor, Dan Patrick, Larry Taylor. Nicholas Taylor is a co-sponsor. I am writing, I'm emailing, I'm Facebooking legislators that voted for this and asking them to encourage you not to go around the intent of the law that they passed. We know that you're coming under the wire. We get it. Joel Hardy, here's one more quote from him. And if you don't take the interim title off of his name, you're crazy. The guy is a great foot soldier. He's done good work for you. I like Joel. But here's a quote I got from him in the email. Furthermore, the impetus for annexation in these areas is largely non-monetary, Bill. This is not a land grab or a money grab situation. I have more details coming up. I didn't really see the details on it, Joel. A few statements from last week. The complaint was that we enjoyed the benefits of Pearland. Keith, I agree with you. We do. And everybody that I talked to that I said that I'd like to speak for you that's in Area P, I said, look, here's one thing I'm going to tell them and make sure you agree with this. You're against annexation, right? And they said, yeah. Well, I am for an assessment fee. It's an option. It's an option that came out of your study. There's an assessment fee that you could give us. Be happy to pay you $200 a month, but $1,000 or $200 a year, $1,000, $1,200 for nothing. I'll give you $200 for nothing, but $1,200 for nothing, please, guys. We won't be having the water and the sewage. Now, one thing that I did want to point out, and I don't know if you read this or not. This was the letter that we got. Some of us got it on time, some got it late. But what it says in here, and it's interesting, it's talking about we are going to annex you, blah, 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 and it gets down there and starts to talk about the benefits of it. And it says in this paragraph right up here, Joel, just so you know where we're at, you will now be able to receive a number of city services provided to Pearland residents and or business, including but not limited to. It says you will now. We're not Bill Clinton. It's not what is. You will now be able to receive public safety. Good. Code, health, and inspection, solid waste collection, water, and sewer. It doesn't say 20 years you'll get it. It says you will now be able to receive a number of these things. But wait, there's even more. You know, it's not limited to this. You're going to get this, and it's not limited to this. There could be even more. I know my time's up, Mayor. I had so much more. I've been digging on this. I'm so glad that tonight's over. I'm tired of looking at Code 43. I'm tired of looking at your budget. There's so many things that I would, if I had 20 minutes, I couldn't get through all the objections that I have to this. I implore you guys, vote it down. It's just not right. Thank you.
Is there anyone in the audience who did not understand the procedure and did want to make a comment other than you?
Can I clarify to Tony, since he wasn't here? Tony, I said you do not have to vote for this. I told them all they do not have to vote for it, and you don't.
If you would like to speak, well, I would. If you fill out a form, I'd let you. Is there anyone else that would want to speak? I think he pretty well spoke for most of y'all out there. Okay, with that information in the record, let's move in our agenda to item number 5, which is council and staff discussion. Does council have any particular discussion? Or not, I'll go straight to the staff. Did you have to comment?
No, Mayor. I mean, we've heard the comments, and we'll probably do some more clarifications, another iteration of the FAQ, just to enhance some of the answers and be clear about that. But we continue to believe that's in the best interest of the overall community to proceed at this time, and we'll have the 2 opportunities for consideration of the ordinance in November.
Okay. Staff, Joel, do you have any wrap-up comments?
No, Mayor. Those are our complete staff report. Excuse me. That completes our staff report.
Okay. We do have a council member that wants to speak.
Yeah, well, I was addressed directly, so I will state I will be happy if I get either the 69,000 votes that we represent up here of the registered voters of Pearland, or my share, which would be about 9,898. My statement was that all the voters of Pearland and the areas being annexed. And that's not what the state law says, simply.
Okay, good. Any other comment? Gary?
Mayor, if I can just have staff, there was a question about the dates of the first and second reading. Can Joel clarify those dates in November?
Yes, I believe that we've had some discussion about some of the local charter requirements as far as when the annexation would have to go into effect, and we had those in mind when we initially considered some of those dates. But we met with legal this morning, and we are going to propose that the November dates are regular council meeting dates, and I believe that puts the first ordinance reading on November the 13th and the second reading of the ordinance on November the 27th. And that way we don't have to call a special meeting to handle these, and I think that would benefit the public and council schedule.
Can you say something, Mayor? You ought to speak.
Mayor, thanks everybody for coming out tonight. Just obviously something you're very passionate about, and I appreciate you being here. I know some of you would rather be at home watching the Astros right now, but anyway, I'm going to look at this closely, and just to let you know right now, I haven't made my mind up about it. So.
You through? Okay. I too appreciate y'all coming out. I think we heard a lot of good things tonight, and as we did last week on annexation. I, for one, don't appreciate what the legislature did this time. Most of these annexations were on the books to do that at a certain period of time, and then with this House bill and Senate bill that came through, it did rush everything. And personally, I don't think the residents are ready. Secondly, I don't think the city's ready on here. And it's just a big concern I know everybody's sitting up here on the decision to do this annexation. And I think, you brought some very valid statements up tonight and last week. And I think there should be, in consideration to make this decision through there. And personally, I don't see any reason for me to vote for it, to be honest with you. So really, you only got 1.5 right now. So that's but it's a shame that that it had to come through this way to be there in this. The way that has been brought up to us to do it. And given, we're not in the airport business. When I was on council previously, we looked at it 2 or 3 times, and it just wasn't for us to do that, to start a new division for airport director, and the only money you make off of it is fuel out there, and it just wasn't there. So we did look at it 2, maybe 3 times, and turned it down each time, and I don't see any reason for us to look into trying to get into the airport, and I don't know, why anybody would think about that as doing that. I guess really the only things you can count on is fire, police, and EMS in the beginning of this to the water and sewer, and you won't have to pay for water and sewer. It's a different it's an enterprise system. It's not ad valorem taxes that pay for that in the beginning as it is. So that's probably down the road to do that. And of course, the city does have the capacity to do it on that. But I don't know, I guess one of the things that always got me, any time's a good time to stop a bad decision. Amen. So that's the way I feel.
Thank you. Comments? Does staff have any wrap-up comments at this point?
Mayor, while Joel's coming up, I want to make clear the city is not and has zero intentions of getting into the airport business. This is it's a private entity, going concern, and it's been very clear that that's not what this is about. That might have been talked about, I thought, and contemplated before the current operators, and but there's a business that has that and running it, but this isn't about anything. Even if the annexation proceeds, there's no change in ownership or operations and no municipal ownership of that.
Before we leave, there's a couple of questions about zoning and that process. Can we have somebody from staff talk a little bit about the additional process of once this gets annexed, if it gets annexed, how we go through the procedure of zoning it, what considerations we take into account, and then how public that process is?
Yes, sir. We would start with 2 things: the comprehensive plan, the future land use map, as well as what currently is in the uses are in play in those areas. The timeline would be that the timeline would be that if the annexations were to go through, we would take the first few months of the new year to do the zoning process. So the zoning process would be public, we'd have to go through the Planning and Zoning Commission, and then do a joint public hearing between the Planning and Zoning Commission and the council, and then council would pass an ordinance over 2 readings for those areas. And so each area would typically have its own ordinance to look at. But these would be public noticed meetings for anyone to come to and speak to prior to passage.
How much weight, as y'all are coming up with a recommendation as a staff, how much weight do y'all put into the existing uses when y'all are looking at zoning?
I think a lot of weight has to go into what's there right now, because the idea is what do you have versus where do you want to go. And if you have an established use, specifically, let's say a residential, low-density residential neighborhood, you'd maintain that low-density residential neighborhood. And so we wouldn't want to turn it over. Typically, it's only if you annex a huge undeveloped area is there going to be the idea of what could you really do in the long term differently. The majority of the property that's being looked at in this annexation process are developed somewhat and have uses in play.
Thank you, John.
Are you through with your comments?
A couple additional points, Mayor and Council. We do have the task of developing and putting the measures in place to effectuate the development agreements with the ag exempt properties. We'll be working with legal to make sure those get out very quickly. We do have the certification of the survey that's being conducted by C.L. Davis and Company that we began a couple months ago. And for areas A and C several months ago. We'll be completing that, and we'll continuing to be responding to the residents of these areas and their requests for information, inquiries, and concerns. We're doing that on a regular basis. We have an updated addendum to the FAQs, so I urge them to go to the website and read that information that we've just provided. And again, we're available via email at the email address that's been provided, and personally to provide any specific responses. The one-on-ones are still available with staff if there's any specific land use or zoning or planning activities they want more information about. And again, we'll be available for any questions or concerns.
Good. That information in the record?
You know, I got one thing I want to ask on this, and if it goes through on the annexation in December 1, the tax bills for 17, they come out in April on property tax.
So these properties would be available for taxation by the taxing authority starting January 1.
I want to thank everybody for being here tonight. I think you did a good job of speaking, and I'm impressed with some of the comments you made and the positions you're taking. But it probably should be no surprise that if you're inside the city limits of Pearland or inside the city limits of Friendswood or Pasadena, any other city, that at some point you'd be annexed. So that should not be something of a surprise. But I want to thank all of you for being here. So moving in my agenda to item 6, it says adjourn. I will do that at 8:12.